Portrait of a Fangirl is a web series and podcast created by Temple of Geek. At the core of the project is the importance of telling the stories of women who have found inspiration, growth, and power through fandom. My name is Jenna Wren, and I'm the host of Portrait of a Fangirl podcast. And today I have the pleasure of talking with Sabine Fahim. Hi, Sabine.
Hi! Oh my God, Jenna, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, it's us. It's my pleasure. I'm so excited to talk to you and to meet you, kind of, right?
Yeah. E-me.
It counts.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. And you said this is your first podcast, so I'm honored to have you on for your first podcast.
Yes. I'm so excited to do it too. I mean, obviously, you see so many people doing these really awesome podcasts, and every single person has their own little niche or target audience. And I wanted to be very careful with who I wanted to start off with, and Portrait of a Fangirl is it. I mean, that's describes me. So it's like, okay, I can do this one. This one's epic.
Well, that means a lot, and I'm very excited to get into this with you. So, could you just please start out by telling our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. So my handle on all the social medias is the Hijabi Bounder, and that comes from my headscarf. As a Muslim, I wear the hijab as part of my faith, and my tagline is "Wear your heart on your long sleeves." So basically, I want to promote everyone to be themselves. I want to support everyone to be themselves. I want to encourage everyone to be themselves and wear what they love on themselves. So my content and my work that I mostly do is in style and fashion, in marketing, in pop culture, where I have a campaign where I am asking for studios and for marketing executives and brands to be more inclusive when it comes to promoting their products and their projects, because Muslims and South Asians make a huge portion of this world that we live in. And it's a huge market that they're not tapping by not showing that their clothing or their movies is for us too. And also for those girls out there who look like me. I do my content for them so that they can feel seen and they can feel heard and they can feel safe and comfortable to be themselves in their environments, and hopefully inspire them. No matter what it is, it doesn't even have to be pop culture. Whatever it is that you love, I want you to be able to wear it, sport it, enjoy it, support it without having any, backlash, without having any repercussions, because every single person is allowed to thrive and should be given the chance to thrive.
Absolutely. The campaign you mentioned, that how did you create that? How did that come to be?
I mean, so when I started on social media, it was literally just to make friends to go to Disneyland, honestly. I'm from Texas, born and raised, and I moved to California when I got married to a California dude. And I didn't know anyone out here. And I really wanted to make friends. I really wanted to do Disney things with them. And so I went on Instagram to the Disney Bound page, and I started tagging them and following people that they were posting. And I was like, okay, I feel like these people would be awesome to hang out with. And eventually I was able to make friendships online. And then I started seeing the social media community. I started seeing the marketing community, and I started seeing how there are a lot of underrepresented communities in all of this. And the only reason I really realized that was when I posted my wedding photos and tagged the Disney Band, because my wedding was Disney themed. And they posted it, and it was Aladdin, and I got a lot of comments and messages and DMs of people being like, oh my God, you wear a hijab and you do all of these things, and you love Disney, and I love Disney, but I never felt like I could do these things. I could have these things, and you did it in such a way without compromising your faith, without compromising your culture, and it's so beautifully done. And I just got all of this messages and in communication with people where it was that's crazy that they've never seen something like this before. And where people tell me, you're the first Muslim that I've ever met, and things like that. And I'm just like, that's crazy to me. That needs to change. So I honestly, the first thing that I noticed was that Loungefly and Her Universe and Hot Topic, Box Lunch, these brands had all of these campaigns where they were working with influencers to wear their items and products. Her Universe didn't have HU community yet, actually, but because I had met Ashley Eckstein, I know we fangirled about her. I met her at D23 Expo in like 2019. She was doing a meet and greet. I got to be able to meet her, and I was wearing her items. I had a Captain Phasma silver jacket, and I had a R2D2 droid top that she had come out with, and I paired it with a tulle skirt and leggings and with my headscarf. And she looked at me and she went, "Girl, I love your style." And I was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much, Queen Ashley Eckstein. I appreciate you." And she's like, "No, no. Like, do you have an Instagram?" I was like, "Kind of." And she's like, "Oh my God, I want to follow you." And I was like, "What?
Wow.
What? Me? Huh? Me? What?" And she's like, "Yes, your style is amazing." And I was like, that was like the encouragement that I needed to have Ashley Eckstein be like, "No, this is something people need to see. I want to see it." And her being who she is, that was the push I needed to be like, okay, like, I feel like people will listen and people want to see this. It's not just me. It's not just people who look like me. Other people who have nothing to do with my culture or my faith want to see this. And so that's who I reached out to first. And I was like, hey, like, I wanted to just, I DM'd her and she responded with her email and I emailed her. And then I was like, hi, like, it was so amazing meeting you. I'm so like honored that you follow me. I just wanted to reach out and see if there was opportunities for us to collaborate, for us to market to Muslims and hijabis and South Asians and a more diverse audience, and whoever loves it will love it. And she was so excited, and she sent me some items and I did a post about it. And then a couple months later, they started HU Community, and then it became a whole thing. And I was like, wow, I feel like I was HU Community before it was HU Community, because like, I think seeing that encourages so much, right? It just encourages that there are people out there who want to support this brand. Because Her Universe, oh my God, we know that's been around. It's been around for a long time. And I have stuff that I own from like 2012. It's crazy. Yeah, so it started from that, and the positive reception that I got from Her Universe encouraged me to contact Loungefly. And they were immediately like, hey, let's talk. And they put me in their Halloween campaign. And then I saw the Hot Topic and Box Lunch had their own collectives and fanatic programs for this stuff. And I applied there, and it just kind of all like jump started. But I always thank Ashley Eckstein and Her Universe for pioneering this campaign and for really, really supporting and just being at the forefront of it, and just continuously grateful for their partnership and their collaborations and their support.
That is such a beautiful story. It's like, and it's funny because that's also a moment when you met her, you were fangirling yourself, and then look at what this has led to for you. And it started all with a meeting, and it's led to this wonderful, community that you've created.
It's insane. Honestly, I can't believe that I'm on this podcast right now. I was literally thinking about it earlier. I was like, I'm going to go on a podcast for Portrait of Fangirl with Temple of Geek with Jenna Wren. My name is Sabine. Her name is Jenna Wren. Like, what is this? Like, this is a pop culture universe up in itself. And then we're talking about Ashley Eckstein, who, by the way, when I introduced myself, she's like, your name is Sabine. And I was like, I know.
Right?
Oh my gosh. It was
together.
crazy.
We have to see her together so we can be like Sabine Wren, right?
Yeah, like yes. And be like, that's our cosplay, our names, like
just our names.
That's how we need to do it. Like wear our name tags, and they're like, "This is our cosplay."
I know, like you're very active with the Her Universe fashion show as well. Like, have you seen the change in their lines, in their clothing over the years since you've gotten involved with pushing these campaigns?
For sure. I mean, I've seen their size inclusivity grow, which is super important. I've also seen, like for instance, they did the Marvels collection, and when they designed the Miss Marvel outfit for the Marvels, and I have this on authority from the designers because they were winners of the last fashion show, and I had like befriended them, and we all became friends. They said when they were designing it, they thought of people who are modest in cover because they wanted that community to be able to wear and rock it. And that's incredible to me that they were hoping that the hood of it would double as a headscarf, because that's what I did. I modeled and I was like, guys, this doubles as a headscarf. Like I could literally leave my house with just this on and it'd be completely like covered and normal, and it'd be look like I'm just wearing a headscarf. And that's literally the designer, like she DM'd me and she was like, that's exactly what I wanted. That's what we were going for. And that winter, that hoodie was my like go-to. I wore it the whole time. Like I've worn so many things. It's just mind blowing to think that that character that's so iconic for South Asians and Muslims is literally like when they design an outfit for her and then for us to wear to support her is something so inclusive and thought of with us in mind.
Yeah, that's the inclusivity is really amazing to see. Every day. I mean, we could speak. We could speak so great about her universe, I'm sure, but it is really important to see these things reflected because I'm sure, like growing up, how did you feel growing up? Did you feel like you had a lot of women like you, like yourself, to look up to? Was that something that you thought you saw when you were younger, or you looked for?
Not at all. I mean, I think growing up, actually, like my parents were kind of hesitant with having me watch too much of what was mainstream because it was so not relatable, not even not relatable for me, but like anyone in my culture, because whether I wore a headscarf or not, what we were watching on TV was not something that we were allowed to do really as kids and not something that was aligned with our values and our faith and our culture and our my parents didn't want us to lose our faith and culture in all of that being like, oh, this is what everyone's doing, why can't we do that? And so Disney was actually something that I was super into. My mom was a huge Disney fan, so we did watched a lot of Disney Channel, things like that. But I never grew up watching the classic movies. I never grew up watching like a lot of things that I'm watching now just to be like, oh, that's why that's so popular. But the first even inkling of representation that we got was Aladdin, and no one looked like me really in it until we got Jasmine when she's in the market, and that was the first moment ever where I was like, wait, wow, so she can be beautiful while she's covered, because Aladdin literally falls in love with her while she's covered, not while she's all like in her other outfit. His first look at her while he's like mesmerized, she's covered. And that was like so important to me. And when I did my first cosplay ever, I cosplayed that version of Jasmine because that was my girl. That's the one I could do. And that was an incredible thing to see growing up. But other than her, and even that movie has its own things that are not really accurate and great. But that was what we had, and I appreciated that. I appreciated Bollywood a lot. Indian cinema, as we're calling it now. We don't want to call it Bollywood because there's so many different languages in it now. Indian cinema was what I really grew up watching. And that's where I got, most of my culture representation and things like that. Even there, Muslim representation is still needing a lot of work. So I think I was really, really blessed to even have those two, because I know for sure in my parents' generation, there was Jackie Chan. That was my dad's like relatable dude, was Jackie Chan. And we watched a lot of Jackie Chan growing up. I love the heck out of Jackie Chan. He's amazing. But like for my dad, who's a brown man in America, Jackie Chan was who he related to. And so that's what we watched. And it's incredible. And for my mom, Selena, even though she's, Mexican American, that's who she related to, because she was a brown woman who was super celebrated. You had J-Lo with the movie, and we watched Selena a lot growing up. And so that's who we had. We had Selena and we had Jackie Chan, neither of which were South Asian or Muslim. So it was either fictional characters that were kind of there, or it was like that, which we still super appreciated and really like defined my growing up. But no, I mean, unfortunately, growing up, I did not have like now where we have Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, where we have Nokia, where we have all of these movies and shows on like Hulu and Netflix, where you have people wearing a headscarf. I mean, oh my gosh, the latest movie I watched, which I don't want to give a spoiler, but the latest Disney animated movie that I watched, the latest one that came out, has a hijabi in it, and she is forefront. She has a name. She's a popular girl. She is someone who the main character tries to emulate at one point and wants to be the in crowd with. She's an athlete. Oh my God. I think I screamed a little bit in the theater, and my husband was like, "Oh my God, babe!" And I was like, "I know," and we were just freaking out. It took everything in me not to take a photo in the theater, because I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. This is copyrighted. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait till it comes out later, and then I'm sure I'll find screenshots somewhere. But that's incredible. That's where we are. That's the journey, and it's been a huge, huge change, and I'm so incredibly proud to be a part of it, whatever little part that I am.
Right. And it's beautiful to think of now there are little girls today there are little girls who are like you, who in such a short time now are able to see this representation that was lacking, what, not even 15, 20 years ago. It's a beautiful thing to
Not
see.
even.
Wow.
It is.
I,
It
you know,
is
I,
so beautiful.
I was going to ask you what the first time was that you really found yourself fangirling, but I feel like maybe Jasmine might be it.
Jasmine was like first. I'm trying to remember, but I feel like I really loved seeing Belle as a brunette in Beauty and the Beast. That was really amazing. Her outfit also was pretty modest, so that was really amazing. I was able to wear costumes of Belle when I was growing up, whenever we did Halloween or whatever. So that was awesome. But Jasmine was the real time that I felt like someone with my skin color, with my features, because he talks about her big eyes and her dark hair and her smile and things like that. And those are things that whenever I got complimented, people would say. And whenever you played princesses with your friends, I was always Jasmine. So she was definitely the first moment of like complete, like, oh yeah, like I can be a princess. But I mean, I think even Mulan was a huge moment for me because of the strong woman. I think it was one my mom's favorite Disney movie, and she felt really seen because my mom was a little more athletic and tomboyish, and her seeing someone like that, go fight for her country, and do that. My mom was in ROTC and all these things. So she was really into Mulan. And so we watched Mulan a lot. And still till this day, it's one of our top favorites. And I think that was another point of representation where we fangirled really hard. And my mom went out and got my uncle to bring me like a kimono from Korea that would be as authentic as possible and like dress me up. And we got the comb and like all this kind of stuff. So I think like those were the huge moments of fangirling for us.
I love to hear that. And it was such a great age of Disney animated movies too, growing up. Although, like you said, of course, there are things now looking back in retrospect that could have been different, but it was a very specific time in culture, and there's a lot that came out of it, and we're growing, thank goodness.
Yes.
But I also want to talk about your personal journey and how you kind of became part of the entertainment industry, starting with you were a lawyer first, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
how
Oh
did
my
this
gosh.
happen? How did we get from A to B here?
So if you talk to young Sabine, maybe around 7, 8 years old, and you went through her, those diaries we had, those Lisa Frank ones that ask us, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you like fill out the questions and stuff. If you went and you saw that, you would see the actor was on there a lot. And I think I told my mom about it, and she was like, well, in our culture, in our religion, our faith, maybe that's not the route that you want to go. And that's changing now. But before, back then, that really wasn't looked at honorable career to have, especially for a young lady. So also it's so hard to make it, there's that, you want security and financial stability, right? So my next step was, well, what can I do that still would be drama, would be like, I'm changing hearts and minds, and I'm representing, and I'm going to be talking and talking to a lot of people and meeting a lot of people and all of that would make me famous. And I did some search, and politician was what came up for me. And most politicians are lawyers. And I was like, okay, I think I could do this. I could go to law school. I could do this. And about when I was in 4th grade, I decided that that's what I was going to do. And I did everything in my power to get there, and I did it. And then I realized that being a lawyer in this country is very difficult, especially for a POC woman. As you can see in any industry, it's hard to be a POC woman. It's hard to be a woman. Okay. And so, especially in Texas where I was, it was very difficult to kind of like make that change that I wanted, where I was representing a community and I was making a change and helping any community, really. The Texas justice system needs a lot of work. It's one of the worst. It's like 47 in the country, or I think the 50th even. I mean, there's so many books about it on how it's just not working. And it became more and more difficult for me to like keep my mental health and do this job at the same time. And I still wanted to make an impact. I still wanted to do something. So I even started my own firm. I did all these different things, which I still have my own firm. And I tried to have a little more control about what I was doing. It was still very difficult. But I wanted to continue. And even when I moved to California, I still continued being aware in technology though. So I did a lot of like work in law and tech, which was really cool. And that was really like different, where I felt like I wasn't really doing too much of, because before that I did criminal defense and things like that, which was really heavy work.
Yeah.
So yeah. I was a prosecutor for a year. I did criminal defense. So I was in all of that. And then I decided, okay, well, let's do something that I love. I love technology and law, so let's try to do that. But it so happens, and I'm keeping it real 100%. God or whoever in the universe, the vibes were like, Sabine, you're not supposed to be doing this. This is not it, because doors just kept closing. I kept getting fired, girl. And I was just like, okay, I got fired from the prosecutor job. I got fired from the law and tech job that I was in. And then I was just doing temp jobs until I realized that my social media was doing well after the whole Disney bound thing that I mentioned earlier. And I eventually, there was the sign came that Miss Marvel was happening. And I was making friends with people who were going to these events and premieres and things like that. And in 2019, the first premiere that I ever went to was Shazam. And the reason I was even there was through One Iota, which is somewhere where you can like sign up and they'll pick you for free tickets to go to these premieres and like be in the fan pits of the red carpet. So I randomly got chosen with that. I went to it and I loved it. And in line, I made friends with Sari Moscato. And I love her. She's my best friend still, just my longest friend ever in California. And she was like, yeah, I go to these Marvel events and I do the fan pits there. And I was like, well, Miss Marvel is coming and like, I'd really love to be a part of that. She's like, oh yeah, let me help you out. And whatever, later, I got the invite for it. And it was incredible. It was just astounding. And I just couldn't believe myself that this was something that was happening and that Disney was like, yeah, we want you there. And I was like, what? Disney Marvel wants me there? Like, I'm looking at the email from like the VP of events at Disney or whatever. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, I can't believe it. And when I pitched it to them, I sent them my cosplays that I had been doing and things like that. And they were like, oh my God, these are awesome. We'd love to add you. That one is the one that did it for me. That was the one that was like, okay, like I need to be here. I need to be a part of this. Because when I was there, even though it was a Miss Marvel event, I was the only hijabi cosplayer there.
Really? That's wow.
I was the only hijabi cosplayer there. Thankfully, there were other South Asian and Middle Eastern cosplayers there, thankfully, and I loved that. That was the most beautiful thing that I could ever see, but I was the only hijabi one. Of course, there were other hijabi attendees that were there. There were families of the actors or there were families of the people who worked on the movie, but as the cosplayer group, I was the only one, and I was like, there's a literal hijabi in this show. Nakia was played by Yasmin Fletcher, and we don't have more people like this here. And then I really thought to myself, I was like, well, who's out there actually doing this in hijab? And that's when I connected with Zainab, but she's in the UK. I connected with another person who's in the UK who wears hijab and does cosplaying. And then I saw that there was a group in the East Coast, but nobody was here on the West Coast. And I was like, really? That's insane. And so I was like, there has to be a way to encourage them because I know they're out there. There's no way that they're not. And that's when I realized that it was super important for me to continue doing this in a bigger way. And that's when I started to just make connections and community with people in person. Started talking to people, learning from people, building the friendships with people who all were so excited to support. And well, not all, but most people. There are some gatekeepers out there.
Sure,
and eventually you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But eventually I ended up hanging out with the right people. And we all helped each other get the connections. I'm not going to gatekeep this. This is how I get connections to studios, guys. I go on LinkedIn. I search the titles, the influencer team, marketing team, whoever, whatever. And then I go on Google and I try to find their emails. If I don't find their emails on Google, then I go on Instagram and find their Instagram page and DM them. That's how I do it, guys. It's not a secret. I've talked about it many times. That's how I do it. And then I keep following up weekly and I'll hear back. I will. And sometimes you don't ever, but most of the time you do. And if you don't hear back then, you will hear back for another thing. So just never stop. And then you guys know about my manifesting. After I do all of that, I put it on Threads, I put it on my stories, I put it on Twitter, and I'm like, all right, this is what I want. Let's go. Because you know what? They see it. They do.
Yes,
you might not get a response, you might not know at the moment, but they see it because there is somebody out there whose singular job it is to go on social media and watch the hashtags and watch the tags and all the other things and the keywords and all the things. And they're aggregating, putting these things together, and they're giving it to the people that are making the decision. That's the thing. Manifesting is not just something like, oh, we're putting it out in the universe. No, but it's an actual thing. Not just saying it, but like put it where it's supposed to be, right? Social media is where you are. That's where you want people to see it. That's where you got to put it. Yeah. And that's how it is. And that's what I continue doing till this day. Yeah.
I
wake up
love
every morning.
seeing.
What do I equal today? What do I want to do? Let's go. Okay, who's on the list?
And I love I love watching your content because you're just so authentic. Like I know not like a month or two ago when you were doing Avatar, I was so hooked on watching you because you can just see your love for that fandom, for the actors right there on the red carpet. And I just like could not stop watching you. And I think that that's such an important thing, is being authentically you and just geeking out.
This exactly. Listen, Hollywood is filled with actors. Actors are literally paid to not be themselves 90% of the time, right? Everyone's being someone else. So when you are yourself, that is so refreshing. That is so refreshing to all of these people. Every single person. It doesn't matter who the person is that you are passing, you tell them, hey, how you doing? You look great. Like I'll be on at these events and there'll be someone handing me popcorn or someone showing me to my seat, and I'll say those things to them and it changes their face. Like I was treating them like a human being. That's just decent. But because in this field, being yourself is unique. And that stands out. But it's also refreshing and something that needs to be more popular and catch on, because I think that's what everyone wants now. Everyone wants to see real people. Nobody wants to airbrush stuff. Nobody wants to edit stuff. Even Instagram is pushing things that are not edited. I have started not editing my photos when I post. I just post whatever it looks like. And I just go with it. And I'm like, you know what? It's cool. I got acne. You got acne. We all got acne. So let's just chill. Like, why do I gotta smooth it out? It's all chill. We got, under eyes, whatever. My belly comes out, whatever. It happens. Sometimes my clothes are like this or whatever. And I used to edit that. And I'm just like, yeah, it is. It happens. The wind, it's a thing. So yes, authentic. I can't say it and stress it enough. And I know more content creators are saying it too, that are thriving, that you have to be yourself. And I literally, every single time I meet another person that I fangirl over and they are exactly who they put on the internet, it's incredible because there's not a lot of them. There's not a lot of them. But oh my goodness, yes.
Have you really ever had, or no, I know you have, but what was or has been a real pinch me fangirl moment for you?
Christian Bale's was the first one when I was at the Thor Love and Thunder premiere. And the reason that Christian Bale was one is because the reason that all of this has started, the day one of me being cosplayer, fangirl, pop culture nerd, getting into, wanting to meet celebrities, all this started with Batman. Batman Begins, Christian Bale, Bat Bale. When that movie came out, it was the new age of superheroes that started. Because Iron Man came out, all that stuff came out around that time. Batman was something that my family was a fan of and we were allowed to watch. So we got to watch it. And my friend, who's now my bestie, my sister of 16, 17 years, we were in, I would say, junior year of high school. And we were in this program together that was like a specialized program. And we became friends, and it was a difficult program. It was like one of those accelerated, whatever programs, a lot of work. And we would have these moments where we were like, oh my God, this sucks. And we'd be like, Batman will save you. And that was like our tagline. Batman will save you. Well, Batman will be here. And he became our like dude. And so Christian Bale was there, obviously at Thor Love and Thunder as Gore. And I'm dressed as Gore. And there was only like 3 of us dressed as Gore in the whole entire, everyone else was like Thor or Lady Thor. And everyone else. And so I was like, okay, no, I'm going to do Gore because it's Christian Bale and I want Christian Bale to notice me. I'm very particular with what I dress up as for every single thing that I go to. And you guys already know this. I am on theme, but very like it's calculated. I was there as Gore, and Christian Bale was going around. He met every single person in the fan pits, and it was a huge fan pit. And he came right before mine, and then they wanted to pull him for press photos. And I was just like, oh my God, come on. He's like, I promise I will come back to you. That's my terrible British accent. But he said, he was like, I'll come back. And I was like, okay, all right, it's okay. I'll be all right. It's all right. And he literally went, and he came back. And he came back to me, and I did not notice anything else. It's like it was just me and him, but I was able to tell him what he meant to me. And he looked up at me and he smiled the biggest smile. And he was like, are you being serious? Like, he was just like, that, thank you. And then he was like, you are the first person I've seen dressed as me and you look incredible. And I was just like, okay, Christian Bale, thank you so much, I appreciate it. And that moment became even more incredible because like all the people around me knew that I was super fan of Christian Bale, so they all started recording. So I have like the video from all these angles, and then Marvel came and they recorded me and they posted the interaction on their Twitter, Marvel account Twitter, and people were like, Sabine, did you see this? And I was like, and that was only my second premiere ever that I had been to, and that was after Miss Marvel that I was invited to, and I was just kind of like, the world wants to see this. They want to see a hijabi girl having these kind of interactions, having these moments, and being celebrated in this way. Because obviously Christian Bale was all over the accounts, but this moment was something that they chose, that they were like, no, this is an incredible moment. And that one was a pinch me moment for me. And it just continued going because I kept getting all of these videos from people. And I was just kind of like, oh my God, this is happening. Oh my goodness. That was a real pinch me moment. The other one was when Simu Liu offered me the job. Those are the two pinch me moments where I was just kind of like, what?
Wow.
What? Who? What? Huh?
That's a big one. I would think that's a big one.
I still can't believe it.
Does it ever really sink in? Does it ever really sink in?
I mean, I don't want it to. I'm one of those people who wants to always be a fangirl. I know a lot of people get jaded, and a lot of people tell me, oh, wait till you get jaded. I don't want to be that person. And Simu doesn't want me to be that person. He's like, your energy comes from your excitement. Your work ethic comes from your excitement. I want you to always have that excitement. And that's a beautiful thing to hear from somebody. He will never dim my light. He's always like, do you gotta do you, all right, that's cool. And encouraging me and supporting me and pushing me forward on everything. I mean, the opportunities that I've got because of his generosity and this opportunity that I got from him, and the opportunities I continue to get from him trusting me, because that's such a huge thing to put on your resume, on your media kit, that you are, someone like him trusts you with his everything. It makes a huge difference when people look at it. They're like, okay, wait, if someone like that can trust her and she can handle that, then she can handle all this other stuff. Just incredible. I mean, I thought, honestly, I was like, I'm going to meet him at his book tour and that's it. It's done. I'm never going to see him again. Never going to have an interaction again. He's not going to remember me. Like, it's going to be fine. Like, that's it. And I had my moment. I went behind it was a Barnes & Noble's books, and I went behind the shelf and it just like collapsed. And I was like, my friends were like, are you okay? And I'm like, I can't believe it. And I was like, okay, it's over. But it was not over. And this is what I tell people when they ask me how I got the job, which I'm pretty sure is a question you've got, is be yourself, love what you love, and do it loudly. Because no one's going to get mad at you for loving what you love. If there's somebody out there you want to support, somebody that really impacted you, that you want to talk about, don't let anyone else tell you don't talk about them. It doesn't matter what other people think. It only matters how they make you feel. And it's harmless. It's not like we're trying to support someone who's doing really bad things. This is someone who's an actor who came up with content that we love. And the reason I even supported him from the beginning was that because he was such an advocate of telling authentic Asian American stories. And he always talked about that. And that was what hit me. And his movie, Shang-Chi, helped me cope with my loss of my mom, because that's what the movie was about. And it just mirrored my life in such a way that I just kept watching it, and it helped me. It was also the last movie I watched with my mom in theaters. So it was just such a huge part of me that I wanted to support the actor who made it happen and brought it to our screen, and the entire cast and crew and the production and Marvel and everyone. I wanted to encourage it. I wanted to show that there was a real need for this. So I just continued to support and talk and tag because they see these things. Everybody sees these things, and that makes a difference. And then he saw it so much that he appreciated it so much that he wanted to make sure that someone that was supporting him like this was going to be someone that he also supported in return. And that's it.
I love the authenticity that this relationship that you two have, as, boss and employee. It's doesn't sound like it's that sort of, I guess, sometimes that can be taken negatively, boss and employee, but this sounds like you have such a mutually respectful relationship. And that's a lovely thing to see.
I mean, listen, the industry is cutthroat, and 90% of the time I'm dealing with everybody else in the industry. Because it's him, me, I don't know, and I put it in the Cosmopolitan article, but it's him, me, and everybody else. So everything gets filtered through me before it gets to him. So I'm dealing with all these people, and you see all the personalities. You see all the personalities. You see that all of these other people are dealing with 100 people, and then you see him, and he's dealing with a million things. So believe me, guys, he's busy. It's a good thing. He's busy. I'm busy. We all get paid. It's awesome to see that he can still remain humble, and he can still remain respectful of everyone around him, no matter who they are and what they're doing, what their role is, because it's rare. Because I do deal with other people, and it's not always the same. I am very low on the totem pole, and it's very easy to be mistreated. But when you're with somebody who continuously tells you, I got your back, I got your back, it makes everything better. I always tell this to people, he's the best boss I've ever had. Even from other industries, even from being a lawyer, he's the best boss I ever had. Because not only is he like, please and thank you, and I appreciate you, and you're the best. And then I do like one little thing. He's like, oh, you're the best. Like, change the time for something. He's like, oh, you're the best. Like, that's encouraging. That's amazing. That's the kind of relationship you want to have in a workplace. And he's so like, he knows that I'm trying to do all these other things too, because that was a conversation we had. And so he's very respectful of like my time and where I'm going and what I'm doing. And, you know, like he's always like, hey, can you, more than come, you got to do this. It's more like, are you able to, can you, will you please, you know, things like that. And the dynamic, I know I call him boss man and I call him boss and all this kind of stuff. Like, you guys see that. It's only because I think he deserves a respect. I think he deserves that. And it makes me feel cool to call him boss, you know, and I get to call him his sidekick. So, you know, it works out for everybody. And he calls me Sabs. I mean, in what world was you gonna have like a nickname for me? It was literally one of the first conversations we ever had where he's like, can I call you Sabs? And I was like, sure. You can call me, sure. Yes. Sounds great.
I feel like I'm just fangirling this whole, I'm not hosting, I'm just fangirling over you because you're so authentic, and listening to you and how you interact with people, I think is such a beautiful thing to see, because I just, like you said, authenticity is really what it's all about. And you just exude that. And I really applaud you being in this field and keeping so real to yourself.
Thank you. And I hope more people realize that. I mean, I'm one of those people who was like, if I was different with different people, how would I keep that straight in my head? Like, that would freak me out and give me so much anxiety. I have anxiety. I'm a very, like, I had high functioning anxiety most of my life. And then recently it all just manifested, especially during the pandemic. And I cannot be having too many things that I need to be doing, because I'm already doing a lot of things that are more important than me trying to be fake and trying to be like, oh, I need to be like this with this person and that with this person. No. Just going to be me all the time to everyone, whether it's Kevin Feige, who I'll say hi to if I see him at an event, or whether it's, you know, by my cousin's kids. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. Could be the person at the grocery store. I'm just going to be myself. I'm going to wear what I want, be who I want. And I am not going to look at anyone else for validation, because, and that's hard. I'm not above this. Like, often on social media, we're like, oh my God, that didn't get enough likes. People didn't like it. Or that didn't get enough views. People didn't like it. So when I put out content, I have to love it. If I do a photo shoot for myself, like for a brand or whatever, and I don't love it, I'm not going to post it. Because then when it doesn't do well or whatever, which is likely, then I'm going to beat myself up over it. So I always have to be like, I'm posting what I enjoy, because then people will see it. That's what people will feel through the screen. If I'm enjoying it, they're going to be like, oh shit, she's beaming. You know, sorry, I don't know if I can say that.
Okay.
But like, okay. It's coming through, the authenticity, the joy, right? Because I love seeing that. Like, that's what I want to see on my feed. I want to see the joy and authenticity of people and being people, doing what they love, no matter what it is. I don't care, you know, whether it's you spending $1 million on an outfit, because I know there are content creators that do. They go out and they get their designer outfits, whether it's that, or whether it's you just going into your closet and picking out your outfits and putting it together in your room. I want to see the joy. I want to see you being you. That's where it's at. That's the sweet spot.
You're so right. You know, I had this conversation with my editor for this, and just recently the other day, and she said, you know, we don't have a lot of followers, but it doesn't matter, because look at the work we're producing. Are we happy with what we produce? yes, we are beyond happy. We're a two of us, small little team, and it's beautiful because I will gloat forever, even if I had 2 followers. So I totally understand like what you're saying. It's not about outward validation, and I think that that's a very important thing for people to remember, especially in this interconnected, mobile World Wide Web world.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna look up right now how many followers you have, because like I have something to say about this, because a lot of people say this to me. They're like, give me advice. I don't have that many followers. Should I continue? But let's see. Portrait of a fangirl. All right, you guys have 859 followers. If 859 people came up to you in a day, in 2 days, in 3 days, in a week, and told you they loved you and they loved what you're doing, think about that. How would you feel? 859 people.
I can't even imagine
That's
that
more
many
than a movie theater. A movie theater doesn't even fit 859 people, like a regular movie theater at AMC. Imagine all those people telling you, seeing you on that big screen and being like, oh my God, we love you. We're here just for you. That's what's happening. And for those 859 people, you guys got to please continue doing this, because it's an incredible thing. I love supporting it. I'm so excited for everything that's coming. And you guys are only going to get better, because I know you had some special guests this week. And those guests, they know that what you produce and what you represent is what's important. That's why they're giving you the opportunity. Yes, of course.
How I feel about having you. Like, I feel like getting you as a guest on this was very important to me because, like I said, I've been such a fangirl of you, just watching you do your thing on social media. And it was really important for me to, see your fangirl side and have you tell us how you got where you are. And I really appreciate you taking your time and out of your extremely busy life to talk to me today about all of this.
No, absolutely. It's been my absolute pleasure. I mean, I love talking about all these things because I really hope that I'm able to open doors for more people to get opportunities that they want. I'm really hoping that you guys thrive and you guys get to, interview. I mean, I don't know. Who's your dream guest? Tell me, Jenna, who is your dream guest?
My dream guest was Ashley Eckstein, and I got to interview her like 4 months into this podcast. So... I mean, as I
see?
stuff.
Yes, see, just see. I got to meet Christian Bale's second premiere. You got to 4 months. I'm telling you, the dreams come true because we're working hard. It's not just given to us. We're working hard. We're putting in the work. We are filling a need. We are filling a need. There's a huge hole out there for these kind of conversations, for these kind of content, right? And that's what it is. We are filling a need.
So I'm so excited watching you. You have been like this first interview of mine where I just feel completely flabbergasted listening to you talk and just am so enthralled by you.
Oh my gosh.
So it's such a pleasure for me.
Oh my
Such
God.
a pleasure.
Oh my God, it's a pleasure for me. I cannot wait to hug you. We need to make this happen soon. Like, we're just fangirling over each other at this point. We're just like, well, I love you. No, I love you. No,
Well, I feel like on that note, before we get too much into, loving each other so much forever and ever, where can we find you on social media, Sabine?
Well, I am across a lot of platforms, and I am the Hijabi Bounder on most of them. The ones that I am Hijabi Bounder is Twitter and I believe YouTube. So it's X now, Twitter X, Threads, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. That's where I'm at. And you can find all of that on my Instagram Linktree, all the links if you follow me there. And on Instagram, I am at the Hijabi Bounder.
Absolutely. And thank you again so much for taking your time today. This has been so lovely.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for this opportunity. It's just incredible. And congratulations on everything.